Imagine one day you suddenly notice your mother's hands, once strong and full of life, now wrinkled and trembling. While you still haven't spoken your gratitude, would you allow yourself to miss the chance to love and cherish her in time? Emotional opening. Do you know that feeling? The moment you realize the hands that once held yours along snowy Danish streets now carry wrinkles that cannot be erased. It feels like rewatching an old movie, but this time the film plays across your mother's hands. Hands that were once strong and warm are now trembling, fragile, as if whispering, "Time has passed here." The problem is, your brain hates facing this truth. It would rather stay busy with English grammar drills, binging videos of how to pronounce this, than accept that someday you'll have to say goodbye. And that's why so many people give up halfway when practicing listening, reading, and speaking. They don't feel a real connection. They don't see language tied to something deeper. But think about it. If you turned English into a bridge back to your memories with your mother, everything would change. A simple sentence like, "My mother's hands are old now," is no longer just a dry grammar exercise. It becomes a piece of your heart. And when you say it slowly, clearly, you are not only practicing English, you are practicing how to finally speak the love you've hidden. It may sound strange, but science has proven that the brain learns better when language is tied to emotion. In other words, if you study English just to pass an exam, your brain gets lazy and avoids it. But if you study it to whisper gratitude to the old hands of your mother, your brain throws a party and keeps it forever. Essentially, language becomes the breath of memory, not just a boring subject. The pain of forgetting. Let's be honest, your daily routine often feels like a never-ending checklist. Wake up, rush to work or school, check emails, scroll social media, maybe squeeze in a quick English lesson before bed. And in the middle of all that noise, there's someone quietly waiting at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, the one who raised you. Your mother. The strange thing is, the busier you get, the easier it is to forget. Your brain convinces you that there's always later. Later you'll call her. Later you'll ask about her health. Later you'll sit down and listen to her stories. But later is a slippery word. It often means never. And one day, you glance at her hands and realize later has run out. Psychologists call this the invisible caregiver effect. When love is always available, the brain treats it like wallpaper. It blends into the background. You only notice the wall when it cracks. The same goes for your mother's hands. They've been holding your life together so long that you forgot to look. Here's the kicker. Language works the same way. If you see English as just another item on your list, your brain will keep postponing it, too. I'll practice speaking tomorrow. I'll listen more next week. And just like with your mom, tomorrow might never come. But if you connect English practice with real emotions, like saying out loud, slowly and clearly, "Mom, thank you for everything," your brain can't ignore it anymore. It becomes urgent, alive, unforgettable. So, the pain isn't just about forgetting your English practice. It's about forgetting the hands that once tied your shoelaces, stirred your soup, or tucked you in at night. And once you realize that, both your language learning and your heart start to wake up. Mother's hands in memory. Close your eyes for a second and rewind. Do you remember those mornings when the smell of fresh bread drifted through the kitchen? Behind that smell were your mother's hands, mixing dough, checking the oven, serving you breakfast before school. Or maybe you remember winter evenings in Denmark, when snow tapped at the window. And those same hands wrapped you in an extra blanket, as if to say, you are safe. Funny thing is, the brain stores these images more powerfully than any grammar rule. Neuroscientists call it emotional encoding. A memory tied to feeling sticks 10 times longer than raw data. So while you may forget irregular verbs, you never forget the warmth of your mother's touch when you had a fever. That is your mind's way of telling you what truly matters. Now imagine practicing English with these very memories. Instead of repeating, she cooks. She cooks. She cooks, you could whisper, my mother cooked for me every morning. Suddenly, it's not a dull drill, it's a story. It's alive. It's yours. Think of her hands washing tiny clothes, buttoning your jacket, carrying heavy grocery bags through Danish rain. Each action was a sentence, each wrinkle a punctuation mark in the story of your life. And you didn't just grow up with those hands, you were shaped by them. Here's the punchline, you can ignore a textbook, but you can't ignore your mother's hands. The grammar fades, but the grip that steadied your first bicycle ride? That sticks forever. And maybe that's the secret, you don't just learn English, you weave it into the fabric of who raised you. Hands and time. Picture this, your mother's hands used to move like quick birds, chopping vegetables, folding laundry, writing little notes for you to find in your lunchbox. Now, those same hands tremble when holding a teacup. The skin is thinner, the veins more visible, the movements slower. It's not weakness, it's the fingerprint of time. Here's the strange psychology of it. Humans notice change only when it's extreme. You don't see the tiny wrinkles appearing day by day. Your brain edits them out, like a lazy film director skipping frames. Until one afternoon, you suddenly notice the difference, and it feels like time played a cruel trick on you. Science backs this up. Researchers call it gradual blindness. Just like how you don't notice your own hair growing until it's suddenly too long. You don't see your mother's hands aging until they can't lift the grocery bag as easily as before. Time hides in plain sight, but here's the hopeful twist. Those hands may have slowed, but they carry something weightier than strength, memory and sacrifice. Every line etched into the skin is a receipt for years of unpaid love. Every tremor is a gentle reminder that love isn't measured in speed, but in persistence. When you practice English through this lens, even simple sentences gain depth. Try saying slowly, her hands are old, but full of love. It's only 8 words, A1 level English. Yet it holds an entire lifetime inside. And when you let the words roll out of your mouth, You're not just practicing pronunciation. You're practicing gratitude. So, yes, time changes everything. But instead of mourning what's gone, you can use it as fuel. Because language, like love, doesn't need youth. It needs presence. The awakening moment. Imagine a quiet Sunday in Denmark. The sun is weak, filtering through gray clouds, and the kitchen smells faintly of coffee. You're rushing, as usual, shoving clothes into the washing machine before heading out. Then you notice your mother beside you, folding a shirt with careful, shaky fingers. Suddenly, it hits you like cold wind. Her hands are old now. It's such a small moment, right? Not dramatic, not cinematic. No violins playing in the background. Just a shirt being folded. But psychologists say these micro moments are the ones that rewire your brain. They act like lightning strikes, brief but powerful enough to split the sky of your routine. Your brain, usually numb from repetition, jolts awake. You realize the person who once tied your shoelaces can barely tie her own. The woman who used to carry grocery bags in the rain now struggles with a dish towel. And for the first time, you see not just your mother, but time itself, standing in front of you. Now here's where English sneaks in. In that raw second of clarity, imagine whispering, "Her hands are tired today." It's simple. Basic vocabulary. But when you speak it slowly, you're not reciting, you're witnessing. You're capturing the truth in real time. Language teachers call this situated learning. You learn best not in abstract drills, but in lived moments. So, the next time your mom washes a plate or adjusts your scarf, turn it into practice. Say aloud, "She helps me." Or even, "She helped me for many years." Those aren't just sentences, they're snapshots of love. The awakening moment isn't about sadness. It's about noticing what's always been there. And once you notice, both your heart and your English start speaking louder. The whisper of hands. Sometimes love doesn't shout, it whispers. Imagine your mother's hands as if they could speak. They wouldn't complain, they wouldn't demand. They would simply murmur, "Child, I am weaker now, but my love for you has never faded." And the funny thing? Your brain is wired to respond more strongly to whispers than to screams. Psychologists call it the quiet effect. The softer the signal, the deeper it sinks. Think of all the tiny gestures. A hand sliding a plate of warm soup in front of you. Fingers brushing crumbs off your shoulder. Wrinkled palms clapping softly when you finally spoke a full sentence in English. None of these are grand speeches. Yet each one says, "I am still here. For you." Now, here's the secret to language learning. If you can hear that whisper in your imagination, you can also train your English with it. Try saying slowly, almost like a whisper yourself, "Her hands tell me stories." 6 words, beginner friendly, but heavy with meaning. Or try, "Her hands still hold love." when you pronounce each word with intention. You're not only practicing English, you're practicing listening to what isn't said out loud. Neuroscience proves this too. When you pair language with emotional imagery, your hippocampus lights up like a Christmas tree, locking the words in long-term memory. That means one whispered phrase from your mother's hands can teach you more than a week of memorizing flashcards. The truth is, those hands don't need to shout. They've been speaking all your life. And now, through English, you finally get to translate their quiet language into words of your own. Gratitude in action. Here's the part people often miss. Gratitude isn't a thought, it's a verb. Saying, "I'm thankful," in your head is nice, but it's like buying flowers and leaving them in the trunk. They wilt before anyone sees them. Gratitude has to move, to act, to speak. Think about it. Your mother's hands have carried you, literally and figuratively, for decades. Now, when they tremble, the best gift isn't pity, but presence. Sit beside her while she knits. Hold her hand as you walk through the park in Copenhagen. Ask her about her childhood, and let her stories become your English practice. Imagine repeating slowly, "My mother told me a story today." 10 simple words, but alive with connection. Science agrees. Studies show that expressing gratitude out loud activates both emotional and language centers in the brain, creating what researchers call a double anchor. It means the memory sticks deeper, and the words stay longer. So when you whisper in English, "Thank you for caring for me," you're not just practicing vocabulary, you're engraving both the sentence and the feeling into your mind. And here's the fun twist: action doesn't have to be big. Gratitude is built from small bricks. A hug after dinner. A note left on the fridge. Reading aloud a short English sentence like, "I love my mother's hands." Each act is simple. Together, they form a cathedral. So don't wait for a special occasion. Gratitude is not a holiday, it's homework. And unlike boring homework, this one comes with warm smiles, softer hugs, and English that finally feels like yours. A deep ending. At the end of the day, it isn't the textbooks, the exams, or the endless practice apps that stay with you. It's the small, human things, like the memory of your mother's hands brushing your hair out of your face, or the way they held you when words weren't enough. Those are the stories your English can carry. So here's the challenge. Don't just practice English to exist inside the classroom. Practice it to live outside of it. Speak slowly, clearly, and let your sentences honor the people who made you. Try saying out loud, "Her hands grew old, but her love never did." That's A2 English, but it's also a lifetime in one sentence. This is where language and life meet. If you let English become a mirror for gratitude, your learning won't feel forced anymore. It will feel urgent, real, like breathing. And when you share these words, you're not just improving pronunciation, you're passing on a truth the world desperately needs. Love does not wait. So don't wait either. Say it now. Practice it now. Whether in Danish, in English, or in silence, let the hands that raised you know you noticed them, before they slip from your grasp. One day, words may fail, but memories of your mother's hands will never fade. Learn English not just to speak, but to cherish, to thank, and to love, before time steals the chance from you forever.